Hi, I'm Lila Jaber. Today we sat down with Jessica Yeary, candidate for Public Defender of the Second Judicial Circuit. Please watch this interview to learn about her experience and why she's running for office. As you know, I've endorsed your campaign.
Thank you.
For Public Defender for the Second Judicial Circuit, which covers 6 counties,
Yes.
including Leon.
Yes.
But it covers the surrounding counties as well. And
Leon, Gadsden, Wakulla, Franklin, Jefferson, and Liberty County.
yeah, so it's a huge circuit, really. So, you know, the first question anyone would want to ask you, why? Why are you putting yourself through this?
Sure. Because it means so much. Because we have the absolute ability to make change in our criminal justice system. We represent the majority of people that are accused and arrested in the circuit. So we have the ability to truly challenge evidence, challenge the issues that we face, while also doing the best work for our clients. If we are the lawyers that are telling their stories, that are being their voice, it can send a message, through the system about what we want for our clients and how we believe the system should treat everyone fair, whether, black or white, poor or rich. We should be the lawyers that are setting that example for representation so that our clients are truly benefited by us being their lawyers.
Where does that passion come from for you? Why the public defender's office? Why the criminal defense side of the law?
I think with me it's always just been, wanting to fight for the underdog or seeing an injustice and wanting to say that's not right. You and I are Stetson Law grads, and I did my internship there at Stetson. And the very first day of my public defender internship, we walked into the juvenile detention center. And when we walked in there was a 12-year-old boy. He was little, and he was sitting at the table, shackled to the chair. And everyone just walked around him, the adults in the room, as if this was normal and this was okay. And in that moment, I truly realized that I would never stop fighting against this. And I had a incredible mentor and leader then, and she just looked at me and said, "It's okay, we're gonna handle this." And she did. With her fight and with her drive, she said, he should be released right away. He cannot sit here shackled. And we got him out that day. But in that moment, I knew my role was to fight for those that don't have a voice. And I've committed my career to doing just that.
So we can't ignore what's happening around us as you campaign for public defender. This is an environment that thankfully has brought to the attention of government leaders and corporate leaders the injustice against African Americans as it relates to police and the need for police reform. Where is your role in that? And if you could just elaborate on how you feel about what needs to happen going forward.
Sure. So every time someone's arrested, that's the first step of the process. And then we go into the courtroom. And every single case is a prosecutor versus a defense lawyer. And as I said, we represent the majority of people in the system. So when we see, a probable cause or an arrest that we feel there was an issue, there was excessive force, there was overreaching, there was a violation of a search and seizure issue, there was a violation of a Miranda issue, we have to be the lawyers challenging that. Because if we challenge that, then it's going to send the message to law enforcement that, listen, the public defenders are going to catch this. We can't take liberty. We can't rough up a client. We can't tase a client. We can't continue to do these things because the public defender's office is going to call us out on that. And that should be the expectation. On every single case and with every single person we represent, we have to be their safeguard and their protector from what issues happen in law enforcement. And then the next step is the prosecutors. Because as much a part as the police are in this equation, the prosecutors are too. And if they walk into court and continue to stand behind law enforcement or send plea offers or review cases with plea offers that aren't fair or equitable, then we're going to continue to see this issue. So our role is very much to counter their role. And if we are, the best trained, the most competent, the most passionate, then we're going to be the lawyers that set that standard and protect our clients, because there won't be more issues. And when there is, the elected public defender needs to be sending that message out. When we see these issues, we need to be there right away and say, listen, we're challenging it not only in the courtroom, but also you're going to hear from me. And we're going to let the community know too, because we have to let them know that whether you hire a private lawyer or whether you get a lawyer from the public defender's office, you are going to get the very best representation on all fronts. If it ends up in a plea, or if it ends up in resolving that way, then we're going to try and set you up in the best way possible to succeed. But if it doesn't, we will be in the courtroom, we will be ready to fight, and we will be the very best lawyers that you need us to be.
Is there a role, you think, Jessica, a public policy role for the public defender in the police reform conversation?
Absolutely. I'm the president of our Tallahassee chapter of the Florida Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. We have a statewide organization that does our lobbying, our legislative policy, as does the Public Defender Association. We have to be downtown telling our representatives in these legislatures, this is how these laws turn out and how they affect our clients. We've been tracking what the ACLU is asking for, what the NAACP is asking for. We need to change the way we police. And through the policy and making these suggestions will have impact, but also if they don't stop, we will check it in the courtroom and there will be consequences and motions filed for suppression so that law enforcement knows we're there. But the policy has to continue. We have to continue to be advocates, and we have that evidence and those stories with us because of our clients. And we can share, what police brutality does and what violations of people's rights does in every single day. And so we have to continue pushing, not only in the courtroom, but also at the Capitol.
Let's focus a little bit on your experience for the job. What do you want the critics to know, the critics that might think you don't have enough experience or you're too young for the job? What do you want them to know? And most importantly, if you were making the case to earn someone's vote,
Sure.
What experience do you want to highlight for them?
I have only done criminal defense in my career. I moved up here, started volunteering because I wanted to join the ranks of this office, of the public defender's office, and earned each promotion to leadership in the office because of my work ethic and because of my commitment to handling cases, defending clients, and also teaching and leading the lawyers underneath me. In the office, I was responsible for mentoring and for making sure that lawyers were trained. Additionally, I handled the most serious caseload while also supervising younger lawyers. I am board certified in criminal trial law through the Florida Bar. What that means is my skill level, my expertise, my knowledge, and my proficiency has been rigorously evaluated by the Florida Bar. I am one of 2 women practicing in our circuit that's board certified in criminal trial law, and I'm very proud of that. And on top of all of this, I am a working mother. I have 2 young boys. My husband is an attorney, and I am very good at managing and leading all of that. My experience and my skill set is over a decade of defending clients in a courtroom while also managing a division and leading an office. One of the most proud, support groups that I have is the lawyers I have supervised. Because when I said I was going to run and get the office, to where it needs to be, every single one of them said, absolutely, Jessica. They still call me chief. They contribute to the campaign. They are, my volunteers. And I believe that shows I have the leadership skills because all of them are following with me.
So you've mentioned a couple of times on the periphery to build up the office, to provide the support it needs. What are some of those initiatives? What are the
Sure.
things that you hope to accomplish from within the office that may impact the team versus, an external relationship?
Sure. The first and foremost will be a formalized training program. I know it doesn't sound, super fancy, but that's where we have to start. We have to get lawyers right now that have the tools they need in criminal defense, because of the turnover in the office, because of changing caseloads, we have lawyers that are very inexperienced, and it doesn't mean that they're not committed and they don't care, but they don't have the skill set yet. You know, lawyers that have been practicing less than a year are handling serious felony cases. So first and foremost is we implement the formalized training program. The Public Defender's Office in the 6th Circuit and the 15th Circuit in Orlando, this is a requirement in their office, and that will be our standard. So first and foremost, we'll be beefing up and supporting through formalized training our skill set as lawyers. Second will be that I continue to carry cases. I'm going to set that example in the office. And my personal passion is to continue to represent clients that have been direct filed. So children who have been charged as adults in the criminal system. That will be my caseload in every county of the circuit because I will be present in every office. Lawyers will know that I am there in my office, not only leading and administrating, but also handling cases. So the second priority will to get in there and truly start looking at these direct files. And third will be building our relationships in our neighborhoods and our communities. There is an incredible group of nonprofit organizations in our communities that are focused on reentry support, rehabilitation, substance abuse, and we're not doing the best job of incorporating them in our case resolutions and letting people know, hey, I have this issue or I have this client who wants this sort of program, let me call their public defender and see if we can get that. Because if we can continue to build those relationships, we will be able to educate our prosecutors and educate our judges on what alternatives are to mass incarceration. We have 2.2 million people in jails and prisons in this country. And we, a pivotal point for me, after 6 or 7 years is when I started representing young men and I realized that I had represented their dads previously. I mean, if you can't see the cycle that we are creating here, that's what we have to break. And so it will be that, getting our lawyers up to par, training them with that formalized training program, setting that example by my continued practice and leadership, and strengthening our community relationships.
It's wonderful. That's absolutely, it's so chilling to hear the cycle continue, isn't it? And but it's wonderful that you recognize it and you recognize the community role as well. Let me end with a question on mentoring. You mentioned one of the previous public defenders, longtime public defenders, was I think the great Nancy Daniel, and you will be the second woman in that role.
Right.
What is your hope in terms of inspiring other women to take leadership roles like this?
That's a good question. It would be the women in my life like you, the women who have helped lift each other up and encourage and support each other and say, you can do this, and set that example. It has been incredible to see, my mentors reach out and say, absolutely, you've got this, let me show you how to do it this way. And so my focus will be on that continued support and encouragement. We're working moms. It's a whole different ballgame once you start, having children or having other passions and roles in your life to balance all of that. But my continued mission will be to support the women in the office. If that means taking them for a cup of coffee or taking them for a glass of wine or just showing them, I am here and you can do this. We all have our doubts, we all have our worries, but when you recognize and support each other through that, that's going to make the difference. And truly, my hope is that by continuing to set the example of being that lawyer in the courtroom, being the best mother that I can be, and also working to make this world better, we can really continue to work together. The Tallahassee Women Lawyers is an incredible organization that I'm proud to be a part of. I take a mentee every semester. I do the same for the Black Legal Student Association at the law school. I coach trial team at the law school. Those are the relationships that give the younger lawyers or the new lawyers someone to look up to.
You're so right. You're so right. Jessica, thank you for putting yourself out there to do this. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for a blessed career of public service.
Thank you.
And thank you. You've made us proud. You've made all of us proud. You've made Stetson proud.
Yes, yes.
So thank you.
Thank you
for your time.
Appreciate it.